Hi there, beautiful soul, and welcome back to my channel. So in my previous videos, I have talked about how to know for sure if an incubus or succubus type of entity has been visiting you at night. But then I realized that there might actually be people who don't know anything about this, and this might even encourage them in wanting to have a relationship, wanting to have one of these beings attached to them so that they can give them sexual pleasure. And this is one of the worst things you could ever possibly do. Please trust me when I say this. You don't want to do this. You don't want to have anything to do with one of these beings, because they will completely destroy you and your life. And so to make clarity, today we're going to talk about who they really are, what is their agenda, what do they really look like? Do they really look like these incredibly handsome men and super attractive women that show up in your dreams? Well, if you're interested, stay tuned and let's get started. And so first of all, succubus and incubus types of entities are lower astral beings, dark beings, parasitic beings who feed off people's sexual energy. And they do this by attaching to your energetic field, and specifically by creating a cord attached to your root chakra, so to your sexual chakra, from which that they will keep taking sexual energy over and over again, as long as you don't stop, as long as you don't end the contract that it's in place. And so we're gonna have the incubus as the male version and the succubus as the female version. Now, as I already explained in a previous video, these are not the only types of beings who feed off sexual energy, because in reality, if given the chance, most lower astral beings will feed off sexual energy because this is their preferred type of energy, and they will present as these incredibly attractive men and women to make you comfortable and to have you give them consent to proceed and feed off their sexual energy. But do they really look like these incredibly attractive men and women that show up in your dreams? Well, they don't at all, okay? They don't look like that at all. So what do they look like then? Well, we're talking about a huge plethora of astral beings, because we have many types of astral beings, and a succubus or incubus could be any of these beings. So they could look either humanoid and have some kind of humanoid shape or form, or they could be not humanoid looking at all. They could actually be animals type of entities, because yes, in the lower astral you're gonna find all kinds of animals that you won't find in our own density, in our own world. And so yes, they could present as an incredibly attractive woman or man, and yet they're not even human. They're not even humanoid looking. They could be an animal, okay? So yeah, that is very much possible. Or they could be disembodied souls who were once human beings and that then started to, lose their human form, started to shape-shift into something else, and they started to, wanting to feed off sexual energy as well. But they won't be human beings anymore, okay? They will be something completely different. Or they could be beings made of different parts because they have eaten or have been eaten by some other being, yeah? Because this is very common in the astral. And then you will have actual demons. And there are many types of demons, and they are all very horrible looking. They all look pretty much like monstrous creatures. So yeah, please do not trust what you find on the internet, because when you try to look up on the internet incubus and succubus type entities, you will usually find these incredibly sexy and attractive demons and believe that that's who you are dealing with. But no, you're not. Okay, this is how they present themselves to have you release sexual energy, to have you wanting to be with them in a sexual way, because otherwise you will refuse them, of course. And so this is why they show up as the type of women or men that you would prefer in your day-to-day life. And so just because you had a sexual encounter, you remember having a sexual encounter a night, and you remember feeling like you were actually having sex and you felt human genitals, this doesn't mean that that was a human being at all. Okay, as I said, they can shape-shift in anything they want. They can read your energetic field. They know what are your preferences. They know who you are. And so they will embody whatever it is that they know you might like. Okay? And so what do they really look like? Well, in most cases, they will look like the most horrendous creatures coming straight out of a horror movie. That's right. That's pretty straightforward, and that's the reality. Now, who are they really? Okay? First of all, you need to understand that just because they are dark beings, it doesn't mean that they are not part of consciousness, okay? They are beings who are part of consciousness, of source, of God, just as you are. The only difference between you and them is that in this life, they are playing for dark side, okay? Most of them don't know, like most of human beings don't even remember who they truly are. So they don't even remember who they are, why they're doing what they're doing, why they live the way they live. And so they will have this compulsion, this need of feeding off people's sexual energy, people energy in general, because there are an infinite plethora of lower astral beings who feed off different types of lower vibrational energy. But all of them will do this because they believe they have no connection to God, no connection to source. And so they think that they need to steal people's energy, other beings' energy, to survive, to stay alive. And yet all of them are playing a very, very important and crucial role in humanity evolution. But they don't know, unless they are some of those very, very ancient dark beings, which usually tend to be aware of their role and what they're doing, why they're doing it. But generally, most of them won't really know. Like most human beings don't know that God in reality is within them. It's not out there, but it's within. And in the same way, they feed off other beings' energy because they don't know that that energy is actually already within them. So they go on and constantly look for beings to feed off. I have actually made a whole video on this topic, on the nature of dark beings, on who they are, why they do what they do. And so in case you might be interested, I'm gonna link that down below, okay? Very much connected to this point is, what is the real agenda then? Well, as you may already know, the real agenda is very, very simple. The real agenda is to eat you up, to feed off your sexual energy. They simply want to feed off your energy. They simply see you as their food. So they will do anything they can to lower your frequency, to have you, have a sexual encounter with them so that they can feed off that energy. And as long as you keep complying, they will keep feeding off your energy. So they will keep coming back over and over again. And depending on the level of awareness of these beings, they might do it very, very slowly so that you won't notice that there's something going on, or they might do it very, very quickly. So they might start feeding off a lot of sexual energy all at once. They might keep coming over and over and over and over again, and you will see that your life will start falling apart super, super, super fast in an incredibly short period of time. Now, how do they do this? Well, they make an agreement with you, and this agreement is made the first time that you have a sexual encounter with them. So this, of course, done on a subconscious level, but the agreement provides that they will give you sexual pleasure in exchange for your sexual energy. So some beings will be quite honest, and they will clearly tell you, okay, I'm gonna do something that will give you a lot of sexual pleasure. Do you agree? Do you agree on making this agreement with me and having me coming back over and over and give you sexual pleasure? So you might say yes or no. Other beings will simply, approach you and start stimulating you sexually and have you release sexual energy, and that's how you will make an agreement with them. Other beings will show up as your lover, so maybe as your husband, as your wife, as your crush, as an ideal soulmate or twin flame, as anything that they know will make you say yes. Okay, so they can do that. They can shapeshift in anything they want, as I already said. And when I say that you have to make an agreement with them, I don't mean a literal contract or agreement. It might be something very, very subtle. So as I said, they might simply approach you, having you, release sexual energy. And then the fact that you didn't reject them will be their signal to keep coming back over and over again. So it could be something as simple as that. So now you might ask, so how do I prevent all of this from happening? How do I stop these beings from attaching to me, from forming contracts and agreements with me? Well, this is very, very simple. You simply refuse to have any type of sexual encounter while you're sleeping. That's it. So you can simply, right before falling asleep, right before going to bed, you can simply set an intention. You can simply affirm, I won't have any type of sexual encounter tonight while I'm sleeping. And in case any being will approach me, I will either wake up or I will reject them, like that. Or you can connect with your higher self and ask your higher self, command your higher self to wake you up, to stop the dream in case it might be leading you to some kind of sexual encounter. So that's pretty straightforward, and there's nothing else you need to do. Now, if you believe you have already one of these beings attached to you, then how do you stop them from keep coming back? And how do you, get rid of the entity attachment? Well, I have already made a lot of videos on this topic. Actually, most of my previous videos are on this topic. So I would highly, highly recommend you go and watch my previous videos. I'm actually gonna link down below some of the videos that I believe might be the most helpful to you. I have also already shared a very powerful guided clearing and entity removal. So I'm gonna link them down below as well. And that's all for today. So I really hope this video was helpful to you, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.